Good evening. We'll call to order this night's meeting of the Gahanna City Council for December 16th, 2024. If you would please join me with Council Vice President Weaver for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
As we gather, let us take this moment to reflect on the journey that brought us here and on the experiences that have shaped us. May we acknowledge the lessons learned, the challenges overcome, and the growth we have experienced along the way. May we appreciate the moments of joy, the trials that have tested our resilience, and the connections that have enriched our lives. And may we carry the wisdom of the past into the present, shaping our future with intention and purpose. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Bowers.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
McGregor.
Here.
Padova.
Here.
Renner. Here. Schnetzer. Here. Weaver.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. I have one correction to this evening's agenda. The SOPEC update regarding the aggregation program will be postponed, so we will not have that under presentations this evening. Are there any other additions or corrections this evening? All right, great. So with that, we'll move on to section C of this evening's agenda. The first item under presentations tonight, we have a special resolution presentation to recognize Councilman Stephen Renner. Surprise! So,
is that why they're here?
I thought it was for the budget.
From here, I'm going to share a little bit about this resolution to recognize and commend our longstanding council member, Stephen Renner, for his enduring commitment to leadership, service, and sustainability efforts in the city of Gahanna. So many of you might know that Mr. Renner has been a proud resident of Gahanna for over 26 years and an elected member of city council since 2012. He's also dedicated his professional life to public service as the director of Franklin County Department of Sanitary Engineering, leading efforts to improve water quality, abate sewer nuisances, and enhance public health throughout Central Ohio. Mr. Renner, you might not know, has demonstrated a commitment to academic and professional excellence. Over the last 2 years, he's enrolled at the Ohio University Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Services Master of Sustainability, Security, and Resilience program, the MSSR program. This has broadened his understanding of climate change, which already was incredible to begin with, human systems, sustainable development, and resiliency. Mr. Renner graduated with his Master's in Sustainability, Security, and Resilience this past weekend. And not only did he graduate from this program while working a full-time job, being a devoted father, husband, and son, but he was also recognized by his faculty as the outstanding graduate for this graduating class. Mr. Renner has used this degree to support his work here in the city of Gahanna. He specifically created a climate urban resilience plan with strategies to promote green infrastructure here in Gahanna, looking at our own land, our own challenges, and the water features that we have here in our community. He also identified effective ways to involve community members, city staff, and others in these planning for green initiatives. We're so grateful for Mr. Renner's leadership, which extends far beyond the city of Gahanna, as he has demonstrated his service on the Central Ohio Climate Action Plan Working Group for Energy and Water Systems, his role as a featured speaker at MORPC's 2024 Summit on Sustainability, and now this attainment of this degree. So, Mr. Renner, we wish to extend a very special and a very heartfelt resolution to you and to your family, and congratulate you on this achievement. could join me down, if all my council colleagues, Mayor Jadwin, if you'd like to join us for a photo as well, City Attorney, you're welcome to, and join Mr. Renner and his family for a photo, we would appreciate it.
Right this way, graduate.
Three, two, one.
Can you take one more?
See, I belong everywhere.
3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having us. Oh, I'm not kissing you.
Yeah, that's right.
12 years, that's a long time.
Thank you deeply. I really don't know what to say except for thank you, and I would do it all over again.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you to the Renner family for joining us this evening. It was definitely our pleasure to recognize you in this way for this milestone achievement. We will be voting on this resolution on the regular agenda. We'll be adding this item under Section G, which I think will identify this as Resolution 0050-2024. All right, moving on. Thank you. We have a presentation this evening from Gahanna Lincoln High School students to help us raise awareness about blood donation and the importance of it. If you'd like to join us at the podium, I think Mr. Van Meter has your presentation as well.
My name's Sonia,
I'm Sarah.
and I'm Delina, and we're from Gahanna Lincoln High School in the bioscience program. We're currently doing a community awareness project on the importance of blood donation, and we're here to give a short presentation on that topic. What is blood donation? Blood donation is a procedure in which you voluntarily give your blood in order to help people. There are different types of donation, including whole blood donation, apheresis, which separates your blood into different parts. During apheresis, you can donate platelets, double red cell, and plasma.
And why are we advocating for this cause? The United States is in a national blood shortage. Donating blood could save many lives, as many medical situations require blood, such as childbirth, complications, trauma care, and cancer treatments. Blood donation also causes a sense of community, connecting you to others. And just a fact to add this, just one blood donation can save up to 3 lives.
Okay, so these are pictures from our last blood drive. It was on November 22nd, 2024 at Peace Lutheran Church. We ended up gaining 18 units of blood, 2 double red cell, and 16 whole blood cells. And yeah, we're really proud. Our goal was 20 units, so we were just short a couple units, but we were really proud of how many we did get, and we're hoping to get more at our next drive.
And these are some blood donation facts we would like to share with you guys. Regular blood donation has proven to be beneficial to individuals by lowering high iron levels and potentially reducing the risk of heart diseases. We'd like to share.
Blood shelf life. Red blood cells can be stored for up to 42 days. Platelets are much more delicate and must be used within 5 to 7 days of donation. Plasma can be frozen and stored for up to 1 year, making it the most versatile blood component for long-term use.
The body replaces the blood donated within 24 to 48 hours, and within a few weeks, the red blood cells return to normal. These are all of our contacts. If you are interested in donating at our next drive, it's going to be January 10th at the Eldon Ward YMCA. We don't have an official sign-up for it yet, but you can contact any of the emails for more information.
Could you repeat that one more time, the location and date of the next blood drive?
It's going to be at the Eldon Ward YMCA on January 10th. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you raising awareness about this very important topic and giving residents an opportunity to participate in the next drive that you're hosting. The next item we have, I think we have Senior Director Vollmer with a strategic plan progress update.
Good evening. I have a slide deck too. Director Schultz is helping me because I just never get it to work. But while he's doing that, I'll go ahead and start. So I just have a brief update on the strategic plan today, a little more formal than the last time. So just a reminder what a strategic plan is. It's a long-term framework that outlines a roadmap for the future of Gahanna. It involves collaboration between city elected officials and city staff, and it acts as a guide for city decision makers. And it's also based on input from anyone in the community who cares about the future of the city as a place to thrive, succeed, and prosper. So a lot of this information I'm going over is on the ourgahanna.com website. So I'll just continue so we don't have to wait. So Our Gahanna is anticipated to be completed in the fall of 2025. They are scheduled for 3 public engagement rounds, 1 in January, 1 in April, and a final one in August. So the community will have input over the various next 14 months on the process. The folks who are involved in the strategic plan process is the core project team, who is a small group of city staff. We support and help to coordinate the work of the other groups. The consultant team, which is Planning Next, helps facilitate the process. The directors serve as technical advisors to the plan. The steering committee is a group of diverse community members that meet regularly throughout the process. They provide guidance on the process, and they serve as community advocates. The next 2 groups are you all, City Council, are champions of the process and will review and monitor the process throughout its duration. And then the final plan is scheduled to be formally adopted next fall as well. And then in addition, city boards and commissions will provide expert insight into their various areas around the city. Why should people participate in the strategic plan? There's 3 reasons that are outlined. 1 is to embrace tradition and help shape the future. So it is essential to recognize the value of our traditions here in Gahanna while strategically planning for the road ahead. Our traditions are the bedrock of our community, and by integrating strategic planning with our time-honored traditions, we can create a balance that honors our past while paving the way for the future. Other reasons residents should participate, because they are experts on the Gahanna community, and we want to hear from them. And this is a special moment. Planning represents good stewardship in the government. The planning process allows us all to work together as a community to create a framework which focuses decision-making that will ensure Gahanna stays one of Ohio's finest communities. So first up, our first round of engagement will occur during the month of January, and that will be through table talks. So how residents and others can get engaged through that, the steering committee members will be inviting their neighbors and friends and community groups to table talks. In addition, we'll be hosting 4 open call table talks. You can sign up at ourgahanna.com beginning tomorrow. They are January 7th, January 16th, January 25th, and January 29th. Those do have a limit of 20 to 40 folks, so sign up as soon as possible. And then if you're unable to attend one of the table talks, you can go on Our Gahanna right now and take the table talk online survey as well. So we'll be publicizing that through the city's social media and the steering committee members as well. So we'll be publicizing that this week as well for the online survey. For those interested to learn more, you can visit ourgahanna.com. All of this information that is shared here this evening is on the website. There's a FAQ document that outlines what a strategic plan is, why it's important, other things. And then there also you can meet the steering committee members, which include President Bowers, Mr. Schnetzer, and Mayor Jadwin, along with 27 members of the community from all demographics and all areas of the city as well. That is the update I have this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Yes, Ms. Padova.
Thank you so much for the update. I just have one question. Can you say again, when will the sign up for the open call table talks and the online survey be available, or are they now?
They should be available on the website tomorrow. Planning
Okay.
Next manages that website for the city, and they will be updating that. We sent them the information today. So if you go to ourgahanna.com and click the Get Involved tab, that's where you can join the newsletter, you can sign up for the table talks, and meet the steering committee as well.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yeah, could you just say again the other months for community involvement? You said January and...
Yep. Can you go to the second slide, Kevin? So they are January, April, and then August. And there'll be multiple formats used throughout to engage different portions of our community.
Great. Any other questions from my colleagues? Okay. Thank you so much, Senior Director Vollmer. We are looking forward to these table talks. We got to run through it as the steering committee last week, and it was a very enjoyable experience. I was pleased at how creative, I think, especially the third activity was. It really helped, I think. I think it'll give us really good feedback from the community. Thank you. All right. Great. Our next item on the agenda is hearing of visitors. We do have one speaker slip this evening from Ms. Hoffman.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Hoffman. I live at 279 High Meadow Drive, Gahanna, Ohio 43230. Congratulations, Stephen. Thank you, Ms. Padova, for your phone call last week. Again, I'd like to address the Community Grants Giving Program. As you know, it was 2 to 5 when you took the vote about whether or not the community grants goes in the budget. And I started thinking about that, and especially after my conversation with Councilperson Padova. When you know you're in a majority, and someone makes a suggestion to take the community grants out of the delineated state of the budget, set it off as an ordinance, make sure that it's not in commingled funds, why would you not do that at the onset? And the commentary was we didn't trust that it would come back up in January, and I really have a problem with that being voiced to me. So in consideration of that and the fact that if there are commingled funds, we stand to potentially have a lawsuit, I would ask you again to reconsider It's one thing to make sure that the monies are not only not commingled with our tax dollars. There are some other points that need to be addressed as far as, are they all 501c3s? What is your redress? I mean, a lot of this hasn't gone public yet about your process and what you intend to do with these dollars, how they'll be granted. So if there's an opportunity to take a look at that, I personally am asking for the information on how you intend to deal with any not-for-profit that doesn't meet all of their promises, as I suspect that since it's a city give, it would be the city tracking it, it'd be the city's legal dollars enforcing it or suing those recipients. So I'm just asking for more information, and I want, like I said, I'd like you very much to think about taking that out of our budget. It's wonderful when we have all this money and everything's going great. How's it going to be when we don't have that? Is there going to be an expectation for the give that we're not capable of meeting? So just so you give that some consideration, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. Are there any other speakers for this evening's hearing of visitors? All right. Next section on the agenda is Section E, the consent agenda. We have one item on here that is for second reading. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read Ordinance 92-2024?
Ordinance 0092-2024, an ordinance to adopt amendments to traffic code sections of the codified ordinances of the City of Gahanna to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published on this evening's agenda?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Renner,
Second.
a second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Renner,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Schnetzler,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes. Motion carries. The consent agenda is passed as published. The next item on the agenda this evening is Section F, motions. This evening we have one motion, Motion 19-2024, to appoint an applicant to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council, Seat 3, for a term of 3 years. By way of background, I wanted to share a little bit before I open the floor. This body, the CRA Housing Council, works with the Economic Development Department here in the city. It's authorized by ORC 3735.69. A Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council shall be appointed for the community reinvestment areas, and presently there are 5 CRAs in Gahanna. The duties of the CRA-HC board include conducting annual housing property inspections or reviewing reports of those inspections, acting as an appellate board for the tax abatement disputes, and recommending approval of the annual tax abatement report filed with the state. The body typically meets 1 to 2 times per year. In addition to the 2 council-appointed seats on this board, there are 2 mayor-appointed seats, a planning commission-appointed seat, and 2 seats that are appointed by the CRA Housing Council itself, for a total of 7. At this time, it's our understanding that there are 2 CRA Housing Council appointed seats that are vacant. Council interviewed 3 candidates who submitted applications and resumes for the CRA Housing Council: William Van Tile, a quality assurance vice president in home lending at JP Morgan Chase; Brian Graney, an affordable housing finance professional; and Charles Coutelier, a fiscal officer who is retired from the Ohio State University. All 3 interviewed candidates, along with the other applicants who indicated interest, demonstrated a high degree of professionalism, interest in the subject matter, and a commitment to Gahanna. Since this is a little-known board, I wanted to go over a little bit of its background and a little bit of our process. So with that overview, I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint an applicant to the CRA Housing Council, Seat 3. Yes, Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to appoint Mr. William Van Tile to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council, Seat 3, for a term of 3 years beginning January 1, 2025, ending December 31st, 2027.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Is there a second to appoint Mr. Van Tile?
Second.
A second from Mrs. McGregor. Is there any discussion? Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. Appreciate the background. As you mentioned, we had what I would describe as 3 qualified candidates. I think any one of the 3 could have certainly executed this position quite well. Upon our own investigation in the roles and the role and duties of this position, I think it is best described as largely a compliance function. And I think, again, while we had 3 qualified candidates, Bill's professional background in quality assurance, compliance, and audit made him the most qualified candidate for this particular role.
Any other discussion from my colleagues? I would just add that I agree with Mr. Schnetzer. I thought that Mr. Van Tile was an incredible candidate as well, and certainly comes with a strong background. But I would also encourage the Economic Development Department, as well as the other CRA members, to consider the other qualified applicants. We were particularly, I was particularly impressed with Mr. Graney, who I think also came with a deep understanding of housing finance, which could be useful to this board as well. So with that, if there's no further discussion, there's one motion on the table. So if Mr. Van Meter would call the roll, absent any further comment. All right, Mr. Van Meter?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
No.
Renner?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Mr. Van Tile is appointed to the CRA Housing Council. Thank you all for the discussion this evening. Next section on tonight's agenda is our resolutions section. And I apologize, the resolution recognizing and commending Mr. Renner, which has been circulated to colleagues, I believe, at this time, should be Resolution 0048-2024. Is there any discussion regarding this resolution? Okay. Is there a first to adopt the Resolution 48-2024 commending Mr. Renner?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Schnetzer,
Second.
a second by Mr. Weaver. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Great, motion carries. Congratulations again, Mr. Renner. The next item on this evening's agenda is Resolution 49-2024, a joint resolution and proclamation of the City of Gahanna, State of Ohio, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial, or also known as America 250-OH.
I was just going with America 250. It's a lot
Okay.
easier.
Got it.
So thank you very much. I appreciate the resolution being included on the agenda. I would like to thank Councilwoman McGregor for joining me in this proclamation that we will be presenting. So the United States is preparing to celebrate its 250th birthday, obviously in 2026. Back in March of 2022, the State House passed a Ohio Revised Code section establishing the commission just referenced, which is known as America 250 Ohio. The purpose of that commission really is to tell the story of Ohio's contributions to our nation's history. And certainly Gahanna has many contributions that we have played within the state of Ohio and in turn to our nation. Big Walnut Country Club always is one that immediately comes to mind. So this piece of legislation is something that's required in order for us to participate officially in that commission and then participate in activities that will be taking place throughout the next 2 years in anticipation of that birthday celebration. Councilwoman McGregor, do you have anything you would like to add to that?
No, I think that Gahanna 175 was a good roll-up to this, this celebration in 2026.
Correct.
All right. Any discussion? I guess I should ask for a first on this item. Is there a first to adopt Resolution 49-2024?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Renner.
Second.
Yeah, I have a second by Mrs. McGregor. Any further discussion from my colleagues? Okay. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Renner?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
It's been a really long year. It's okay. Motion carries. Resolution 49-2024 is adopted, and we look forward to all the celebrations for America 250 next year. So great. Second item, next section on the agenda is Section H, ordinances for introduction and first reading. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read Ordinance 95 on the agenda?
Ordinance 0095-2024, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Gahanna Community Improvement Corporation, CIC, for a term beginning January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025, to promote and encourage economic activity for the city and declaring an emergency.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. This will come on for second reading at our at our regular meeting that will be held on January the 2nd. And my understanding is that because the amended agreement is attached here to this first reading, there will be no amendment necessary at the second. Okay. Next section on the agenda, Section I, ordinances for second reading and adoption. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read Ordinance 65-2024 into the record?
Ordinance 0065-2024, an ordinance adopting appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Gahanna during the fiscal year 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Is there a first to adopt Ordinance 65-2024?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Renner,
Second.
a second by Councilwoman Jones. Is there any discussion this evening? I'll note that we will need to amend this item such that we are adopting proposed substitute Exhibit A, item number 19 on the on Legistar. Okay. So could I entertain a first to amend Ordinance 65-2024, substituting proposed substitute Exhibit A, which is identified as item 19 on Legistar?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Renner.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you call the roll on the amendment?
Renner?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. So now we will proceed to discussion on voting on Ordinance 65-2024 as amended. Discussion from my colleagues. Comments? Yes.
Madam
Mr.
President, just kind of as a point of order, we've heard some concerns about a particular program. There was some discussion about 2 weeks ago in relation to the best way to fund said program. So I figured I would bring it up to my colleagues just one last time. I would move to reduce the general fund appropriation under general government, Department of Finance contract services by $100,000 for the purpose of the community grants program, with the expectation that we would bring this item back in January with the intent of trying to find non-tax revenue sources.
Is there a second to Mr. Schnetzer's motion to amend?
I'll second it.
A second by Mrs. McGregor. Any discussion? Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. Not wanting to reiterate previous comments, I appreciate the Chairman Schnetzer's comments and the concerns, and the wealth of comments we've received from the public as well. I will reiterate my willingness to have that conversation moving forward. I know Deputy Director Weibensinger has done a wonderful job putting the program together, and certainly willing to work with him to enhance the program and provide additional clarity or safeguards, whatever is required as that gets rolled out in the future. But I don't support the need to reduce the general fund revenues at this time. Happy to have that conversation in the future.
Councilwoman Padova?
I would basically like to echo Mr. Weaver's comments. As stated in our, I believe, last budget meeting, maybe 2 now ago, when we had this conversation before, I would be supportive of him bringing something back in January. I do not support taking this out of the budget. I think that we have, identified a decent chunk of that $100,000 already, just in bed tax that is going into the general fund. So I feel confident that we would be able to find that money easily. And it is my understanding that that this is not coming from the issue $12. So I would not support doing that.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Padova. Mr. Renner?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what everybody has already said about this. I think that we've had very healthy debate up here. If everybody remembers, we went into the wee hours of the night. And if we want to open up this can, then again, I'll say, then we need to take apart the entire budget. I don't understand this philosophy. This really doesn't make sense to me. And that I see a blend of the services that we provide for the vitality of the city of Gahanna. This is nothing different than just that same vein. We can go on and debate ad nauseum. I think Councilman Snetzer actually came up with a good idea and asked the administration to come up with non-general fund dollars. They are doing that, and I support that. So I don't understand why we need to actually change this.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mr. Schnetzer?
Madam President, thank you very much. The only thing that I'll just add for context is that unfortunately this resolution as presented, it authorizes the use of tax dollars. And just to be clear for anyone that might not understand my position on this, that's really where the heartburn is. So it's nothing more than that.
We appreciate that. I think that there's been a lot of hearty discussion on this item, and I think your points are well taken. If there's nothing else, then I'll ask Mr. Van Meter to call the roll on the amendment that's on the table to remove $100,000 allocated in the general fund for the specific purpose of the community grant program. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Weaver?
No.
Bowers?
No.
Jones?
No.
Padova?
No.
Renner?
No.
All right. The motion fails. So we are back to the underlying motion to adopt the budget as amended, to adopt proposed substitute Exhibit A, item 19, as the budget for the City of Gahanna for 2025. Any further discussion this evening on this item? Yes, Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to extend a thank you to the administration and staff for all the time and effort that went into crafting the budget. Thank you to my colleagues on council for putting in many late nights over the past few months. And I thank the residents that showed up and took time out of their schedules to speak about the budget and shared matters that were important to them. There are, of course, a number of good items receiving funding in this budget. Just to name a few, additional staffing for public safety, parks improvements, and monies for continued street maintenance. However, there is an item in this year's budget that's new that raises significant concerns for me and That's the authorization to allocate city tax dollars for nonprofits. My concerns over this item originate from the fact that I ran for council over a decade ago at a time when the city's fiscal outlook was not so rosy, with really one goal in mind, and that was to fix the city's finances. Over that tenure, I'm proud of the work that we've all done to find efficiencies, establish a capital improvement plan, and source dedicated funding for capital, public safety, public service, and parks and recreation. None of that was easy, as many of you in this room can attest. It took a lot of trust building with the community at a time when trust was at a low point. Personally, I knocked over 1,000 doors where I stood on residents' doorsteps and explained the city's challenges. I presented at middle school auditoriums, Clark Hall, and the auditorium at Shepnaz Church, telling residents of our plan to fix it. And I met with HOAs and neighborhood groups in residents' living rooms where we talked about how long the plan would last if residents approved of it. In short, I made a promise. Unfortunately, authorizing the use of city tax dollars to nonprofits, in my opinion, goes back on that promise, and that's just not something that I'm willing to do. So unfortunately, I cannot lend support for this ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Any other discussion from my colleagues this evening? All right. I just will echo my thanks to the city administration for their willingness to try something different this year with the department-by-department presentation. While the meetings were long and we put lots of hours in, and I'm sure you put even more than we did in terms of preparation, your time, I think, was incredibly well spent, and I think that not only have all 7 of us gained a deeper and better understanding of how both the operations and the capital budgets are working synergistically with each other, but I think our entire community has fared and improved from this process. So thank you all for your dedication. I also wanted to reflect too on how on some of the great growth that has happened in this community over the last year. We have made under Senior Director Schultz's leadership and watchful eye incredible strides on 825 on the new municipal complex, and so that is largely reflected in this budget as well. So thank you so much for that. And then, of course, to public safety and to parks, I think there are great things that are happening there with increased staffing, robust training programs that are going on, particularly within our law enforcement division, but appropriate staffing for Parks and Rec as well. We are very grateful, and I think that the presentation on the street tree program presented by Mr. Guthrie and Ms. Praderi was incredibly insightful and helped us understand the staffing request that came forward. So I want to thank you very much for that, and we're excited to see what all that's going to happen in the new year with this proposed 2025 budget. I'm disappointed. I understand that Mr. Schnetzer is taking a principled position with regard to a no vote on the budget. I'll raise that we all received, hopefully in our mailboxes over the last couple of days, a copy of Uniquely Gahanna. And one of the spotlight articles in Uniquely Gahanna was the community grant program that has done so much good for our community over the last 2 years. And while the community grant program was initially funded through ARPA and CARES dollars, it's been administered by the same staff that we're entrusting this next $100,000 from general fund to go to. And while we had flexibility and increased flexibility with our use of the COVID relief dollars, we still chose to appropriate those dollars to support this community grant program over the last 2 years. We've heard from nearly a dozen residents on their support of this spending and then how it's directly impacted the lives of our residents and the nonprofits that are served by them. I think that this budget strikes a good balance. It doesn't deliver, I think, everything any one person wanted, but it certainly delivers a lot of bang for the buck with a lot of fiscal stewardship, I think, as well. So I'm proud to support this, and I express my gratitude to the staff for all your hard work on this cycle. All right, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Renner?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
No.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes?
McGregor?
No.
Padova?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Ordinance 65-2024 is approved. Our next section on the agenda is ordinances for second reading with emergency adoption. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read ordinances 90 and 91 under this section of the agenda?
Ordinance 0090-2024, an ordinance establishing the salaries for the personnel of the City of Gahanna for the period January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 0091-2024, an ordinance establishing the benefits for personnel of the City of Gahanna effective January 1, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Is there a first to adopt ordinance 90-2024?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first from Mr. Schnetzer.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion on this item? All right, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 90-2024 is approved. Ordinance 91-2024, is there a first?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first by Mr. Schnetzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion on ordinance 91? Hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 91 is adopted. I'll note, too, that both 90 and 91 are approved with emergency, so they'll become effective January 1, 2025. Effective immediately, but per the effective date in the ordinance. Section K, ordinances for introduction, waiver, and emergency adoption. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read ordinances 93, 94, and 96 for the record?
Ordinance 0093-2024, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept and execute proposal for ancillary employee benefits through MetLife, waiving second reading and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 0094-2024, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a bargaining unit agreement for the Fraternal Order of Police, Capital City Lodge Number 9, for the period of January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2027, waiving second reading and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 0096-2024, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into the Fraternal Order of Police, FOP, Ohio Labor Council, OLC, collective bargaining unit contract for the period of January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2027, waiving second reading and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. First on ordinance 93-2024, is there a motion to waive second reading for ordinance 93-2024?
Move to waive second reading on ordinance 0093-2024, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll on the motion to waive second reading on ordinance 93?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes. Motion carries, so the rules are suspended in order to waive the second reading. Now, is there a motion to adopt ordinance 93-2024 with emergency?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first by Mr. Schnetzer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes. Motion carries. Ordinance 93 is adopted with emergency. Ordinance 94-2024, is there a motion to suspend our rules and waive the second reading of ordinance 94?
Madam President, I will move to suspend second reading on ordinance ordinance 0094-2024. Sorry, I lost my place.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. The rules are suspended, waiving second reading. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 94-2024 with emergency?
So moved, Madam President.
First by Mr. Schnetzer,
Second.
second by Ms. Jones. Any discussion on this item? All right. Hearing none, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes. All right, motion carries. Ordinance 94-2024 is adopted with emergency. Ordinance 96-2024. Is there a presentation from the administration on this item?
Good evening. In front of you today, you have the contract, the successor collective bargaining agreement with the OLC that our communications technicians are in. On behalf of Mayor Jadwin, Administrative Services, and the Division of Police, we respectfully request an ordinance for the mayor to sign the contract to be on emergency and waiver to meet filing deadlines and to ensure salary changes and benefit changes for 1/1/25. Attached to the agenda is the report. I'll go over some of the high-level changes. There's minor modifications in the grievance, arbitration, and discipline language. We removed seventh-day pay. Compensation is a 5% general wage increase in 2025, 4.5% in 2026 and 2027. That's an increase of $235,000 over the next 3 years. In addition, we allowed 16 hours of personal leave to carry over into the next year, removed uniform requirements, and issued an annual allowance for branded clothing at the city's designated vendors. In addition, similar to the FOP, the resiliency reboot that Chief Spence spoke about last week is incorporated into this contract with 16 hours of personal time for completing the program. In addition, under the sick leave articles, we removed the sick leave tier accruals, so all employees will earn a rate of 120 hours per year regardless of service, removed major medical, added short-term disability, and paid parental leave. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senior Director Vollmer. Any discussion or questions from my colleagues? All right. All right, with that then, I'll entertain a motion to suspend our rules to waive the second reading of ordinance 96-2024. Is there a first?
Madam President, I'll move to suspend second reading on ordinance 0096-2024.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. And a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion? Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Renner.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 96-2024 with emergency?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first by Mr. Schnetzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion? Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Renner.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Ordinance 96-2024 is approved with emergency. Congratulations to our Department of Human Resources and Administrative Services for your work, and also to the bargaining units. Next section on this evening's agenda, correspondence and actions. Mr. Clerk, do you have anything this evening?
Nothing this evening.
And council colleagues, anything under correspondence and actions? All right. Next up, representatives. First, Community Improvement Corporation, Councilman Renner and Weaver.
We have a meeting, CIC has a meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the committee rooms.
All right, thank you, Mr. Renner. Councilman Weaver with a Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission update.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks again, as always, to Clerk Van Meter's office for assistance in putting together the report. Full report is linked to your agendas. The commission did meet on December 12th for the last meeting of the year, officially welcomed the village of Alexandria and the city of Marion as our 89th and 90th members, respectively. Also adopted the 2025 MORPC budget. Couple dates to couple items to highlight here. Today was a Money Monday. The topic was an update on the lame duck session at the Ohio General Assembly. You can always view the archive of Money Mondays online. There's a link in the report. And a couple upcoming dates to save for your calendar. February 5th will be the 3rd Annual Data Day, and the State of the Region will be held on March 21st. And that is it for my Morpsey report.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Councilwoman Padova for an update from the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you. Visit Gahanna has partnered with FutureCom Technologies, and I mentioned this before, but they are doing the Santa hotline from now until December 25th. So you can call the hotline and hear a different message each day from Santa, and that number is 614-478-1061. So I've seen a lot of people passing this number and message around on Facebook here recently, so it seems to be going well. That's all for me.
Thank you, Councilwoman Padova. Back to Councilman Weaver.
So thank you, Madam President. My apologies, and my apologies to Madam Mayor. I had asked if she wanted to provide an update on her efforts through the Sustainability Committee with Morpsey, and she graciously said yes, and then here I just blazed right through it. So my apologies.
I just thought I'd keep it as a surprise for 2025. It's all right. But thank you for that. So City Council might recall the Sustainable 2050 program. Gahanna has been at a silver status for a number of years. And by gosh darn it, we're competitive and we need to get to that next level. And so we have submitted an application through the Sustainability Advisory Committee of Morpsey to move toward the gold status. And I would actually like to commend Director Weibensinger, Mara Hunter, who is our grants person, who has only been here about 100 days, but has just really dove right into that project. We also had a Morpsey intern over the summer, Matt Goodhart, who worked extensively in gathering all of the documentation. But our team worked together in putting together that workbook. It will be presented to the Sustainability Advisory Committee for recommendation for adoption on Wednesday, where we will be hosted by Mayor Kessler in Bexley in his musical leanings. So it's always a highlight of the year for the Sustainability Advisory Committee. But hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, that will get recommended by the Sustainability Advisory Committee. It will be then presented to Council, or I'm sorry, to Morpsey, the Commission is what I meant to say, at the February meeting for adoption, and we will then work on platinum status.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Jadwin. Councilwoman Jones for a school board update.
Yeah, thank you. So I had the opportunity to attend Superintendent Dr. Deagle's district ambassador meeting at the beginning of the month and wanted to just share a few updates or highlights from that meeting. First, block scheduling was a huge topic of conversation, so that was one of the big changes this year, along with new school times at the high school. So wanted to inform the community that a survey is being done with teachers, students, and staff by the end of this year to really assess how that's working. There is a commitment from the school district to stick with that block scheduling for at least 3 years, because you have to see how it works before making those changes, but wanted to share that. There is some cool insights from teachers on block scheduling in the, I believe, the 11/22 district newsletter. So it was a Lincoln Live production. Folks can take a look at that. The Ohio State School Report Card will start to measure readiness beyond just college. So they'll look at trade school, workforce readiness, military readiness. And so in that vein, the district is partnering with One Columbus for a presentation on workforce readiness in February. So save the date for February 11th. At 7 p.m. in the Middle School West Auditorium for that presentation. It should be informative to students, but also to our community, as I know workforce and really how we improve that here in Gahanna is a topic of interest to all of us. And then, believe it or not, the high school opening is 1 year away. So the district is making plans about how the entire community, not just those with students, can be a part of this historic event for the school. So keep an eye on social media. If you do not subscribe to the district newsletter, go ahead and do that, because those updates will be coming soon about how we can unveil the new school and invite everyone to attend. Also, save the date for State of Schools. Dr. Deagle will do that on January 29th, 7 p.m., also at Middle School West Auditorium. There is a regular school board meeting this week, this Thursday. And then last thing is just well-deserved break for teachers, students, and staff. This Friday is the last day of school until January 6th. Not that anyone is counting, but 2 weeks off, so just thank you and appreciation to everyone. And happy holidays and rest to our teachers and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Official reports, Mayor Jadwin.
Thank you very much. As we come to the close of another year, I'd really like to take a moment to talk about and reflect on our shared accomplishments this past year and the hard work that really brought us to this point. Tonight, we celebrated the passage of the 2025 budget. I appreciated your comments, Councilwoman, which really is a blueprint for the future as to how we build upon the progress that we've made in 2024 and really positions us, I think, very well to tackle the challenges that we have ahead with confidence and with purpose. This budget represents our commitment to fiscal responsibility, strategic investment, and the values of the community. It was not achieved without careful planning, extensive financial analyses by our team, many collaborative and lengthy discussions over 8 weeks, and most importantly, the dedication of our incredible staff. From their detailed financial analyses to creative problem solving, their expertise and perseverance have been really invaluable. Looking back on 24, I'm proud of the significant strides that we've made in a variety of initiatives, from an aggressive street and sidewalk program to 2 water line replacements, the construction of a roundabout along a major industrial corridor, and more. And I forgot installation of 2 new playgrounds. We've made great strides in addressing long-deferred infrastructure improvements that have enhanced the safety and connectivity of our community, just as we promised with Issue 12. Economic development projects like Ortho 1, the expansion of long-standing existing businesses by the Grody Company and others, and the addition of numerous small businesses such as 3 Creeks Kitchen and Cocktails. If you haven't been there yet, you got to go. Those businesses chose to grow here in Gahanna, and they really have fostered new opportunities for our residents and for business owners, while also adding to our income tax base, which then have allowed us in turn to expand community programs and services, from new camp, youth, family senior programs, which have seen significant increase in participation, construction of a new mountain bike trail, broader recycling and waste disposal services, and a new community choice aggregation program. All of those programs are ensuring that our city remains a place where everyone can thrive. With the adoption of a modernized zoning code that includes streamlined processes, implementation of new software that's more user-friendly, that's already seen 50% faster review and approval times for permit processing, and transition to a new citywide customer service model, we continue to enhance our resident services while keeping an eye on the future. As was referenced here with regard to this budget, investments in our human capital are equally critical to our ability to complete those projects and to deliver our services to residents. These initiatives have included the successful negotiation, Director Vollmer mentioned, of not 1 but 2 union contracts before their expiration. Now, that has not happened in many, many years. The establishment of new safety and training programs that benefit our employees and make sure that they are working in safe environments and are protected. And the streamlining of ancillary benefits and new paid leave programs that emphasize employee health and wellness, which are critical to make sure that everybody is doing the job that they can to the best of their ability and that they are safe and secure. And of course, I'd be remiss if I did not mention all of the work and collaboration by staff, our partner organizations and residents who came together throughout the year to celebrate the rich and unique history that is Gahanna and the first ever drone show that has since been copied by other communities, but we won't talk about that. None of this would have been possible without the collective efforts of our council, and we appreciate your support, your financial support, your policy support, your participation, and of course our department leaders and our incredible, incredible employees who work tirelessly behind the scenes. Team Gahanna, as I often refer to them, continue to demonstrate a dedicated and steadfast commitment to serving our residents each and every day. And to all of you, your work does not go unnoticed. 2025 promises to be an exciting year of opportunity as we work hand in hand with our residents to truly shape the future for Gahanna. Our Gahanna, which Director Vollmer talked about a little bit tonight, which is the city's strategic plan, is a significant initiative that will involve extensive community engagement, that will generate goals and objectives that will direct our work and investments over the next several years. Relatedly, we will continue the development of a citywide comprehensive transportation and mobility plan that will enhance mobility, safety, and modal options for all users, creating a more walkable, bikeable, and accessible Gahanna. Lots of community engagement opportunities coming up in 2025. And by the end of the year, our facility for the future will move toward completion, positioning us to extend and enhance our services to our residents. And that will coincide with the opening of the new high school next door as well. So we look forward as well. Stay tuned for opportunities as we engage the community in that process. But what an exciting year it will be this time next year when both of those facilities move toward their official opening. So I extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you, every individual who's contributed to our city's successes this year. My administrative team and I look forward to working with all of you and with all of our residents as we continue to move Gahanna forward. And I extend my heartfelt wishes to all of you for a joyous holiday season. And we will see you in the new year.
Thank you, Mayor Jadwin.
Thank you.
All right. City Attorney Tamma Larison.
Thank you, Madam President. I do want to thank council for the passage of the traffic code supplemental update. I will have a full annual report for you on January 2nd, so stay tuned for that. And with that, for all those who celebrate, enjoy a happy and safe holiday season.
Thank you, City Attorney Tamma Larison. All right, that brings us to council comment this evening. We'll start with Councilwoman McGregor.
I would just like to thank the young women who came to present about the need for blood donations. They kind of glossed over, but they're part of the bioscience program that's a program of Eastland Fairfield Career Centers, and it's located at Clark Hall. And they have juniors and seniors that participate in that program. One of my granddaughters did last year, and it gives them they have an opportunity to do a capstone project and then also a group project where they go to state, and then if they progress through the state, then they go to a national competition with their project. So it's really a great opportunity for kids interested in the bioscience field. And really our Eastland and Fairfield, they provide many opportunities for our students in the district for programs other than typical academics that are at the high school. Just to say, we're looking forward to the holidays. All our older granddaughters will be home from college in the Air Force. We will be very blessed to have our whole family together for the first time since last March. And wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman McGregor. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you. So my November newsletter is attached to the agenda, so you can see all of the things that we did and accomplished last month. It also references my January constituent hours, so that will be January 18th at 11 a.m. in the library, I believe study room G, but reach out to me for clarification on exactly where at the library. And then just as we close the year and I reflect on my first year in office, I wanted to extend my heartfelt thanks to the administration, my colleagues, council staff, and the community for your support and collaboration, and most importantly, grace, as I've gotten acquainted to this new role. It's the dedication of everyone who has made this year a success, and I am truly honored to work alongside each of you to serve this city, and I look forward to another year of progress and partnership. And lastly, just a happy holiday message. It feels really fitting to me that Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa all overlap this year, which is just truly a beautiful reminder of diverse traditions in the melting pot that Gahanna is. And so regardless of whatever you celebrate, I wish you all peace, joy, and time with the people that matter most to you. So happy holidays.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Councilwoman Padova.
Thank you. Thank you to all of the staff and administration that has worked tirelessly to make this city great all year, especially during budget season. And a special shout out to everyone sitting out here who has worked full days and also has been stuck here until 10 o'clock most Monday nights in the last 8 weeks or so. So thank you all for your hard work and dedication to the city. And also congratulations again to Mr. Renner. It is just such a huge achievement to see your dedication to the city, to sustainability, and also just your personal growth. So congratulations again, and happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you, Mrs. Padova. Mr. Renner.
Yes, thank you. It's been an amazing year. And I said this before, and I want to thank the mayor and her staff once again for all the assistance that we had this year in the clean energy aggregation program. It took us a while to actually fundamentally understand the pieces and parts. We joined the Power a Clean Future Ohio, PCFO. Want to make sure I said that right. And then which lead us into understanding who the aggregators were and doing that appropriately. So what I wanted to say about that is that the Power a Clean Future Ohio had an annual event. They hosted the Clean Energy Awards, and the city was recognized for two things. One is as a clean energy community. Clean energy communities are recognized for their implementation of a 100% clean energy program. So the city of Gahanna was officially recognized and given an award for that. And then also for the city of Gahanna was also recognized as a climate action community. Climate action communities are recognized for their commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and effectively address climate change. And you know that you may recall from our PCFO when we joined them, we also contracted with them about reducing our greenhouse gases down to 2005 levels. So actually 50% of their 2005 levels. Very notable goal, and we'll see if we can actually get that. But this is important, and I won't labor too much about the effects of climate change. You can probably go outside and actually understand it yourself. Climate change is very real. In fact, there was a tornado in San Francisco, of all places, over the weekend. That's, if you don't know, that's extremely, extremely rare. Storms are going to get more frequent and more intense as time goes on. So, and I'm just going to leave that there. I want to thank the city and my colleagues for the very healthy debate that we had over the budget. We had a different budget process this year, and I feel like it was definitely long, but it actually allowed us to burrow a little bit deep and appreciate the programs that the city directors are actually having to do and what the budget actually says about that. And so I know that it took a long time and there was a lot of labor and there was lots of debate up here. I still highly respect every one of my colleagues and their opinions, even though I disagree at times. But I think that the process was very mature and very hearty, and I do believe strongly that we've done our due diligence for the residents of the city of Gahanna. There was one other point that I was going to say about that, but thank you for everybody on that. And before I forget, I do also appreciate the young students that have actually stood before us about the blood drive. I am behind for obvious reasons. I had my mind and body elsewhere, but I need to get back into the cycle of giving blood. And so I urge you, if you can, please definitely give the life-sustaining substance. And then to my colleagues, thank you so much for this recognition. It definitely wasn't needed, but I really value deeply the time it takes to actually do something like that, and to be able to take a moment and enjoy the recognition a little bit for achievement. And to you, I want to say thank you for at least giving me the time of day and listening to me about climate change. I'm not done, but you are listening to me and to the staff. I feel like you're listening, and we're making progress, and I thank you for that. This is a holiday season. I think Councilwoman Jones actually said it the best about the season and about the tenor and the vibe of the season. It is I don't think it's a coincidence that it actually follows our Thanksgiving. And so this season is a moment for us to take a pause and to reach out to everybody and shake neighbors' hands. Please go out and meet people that you haven't seen in a while. Reach out to them. Definitely reach out to our citizens that are really struggling. I've had 2 on the west side reach out to me. And there are a lot of people that are hurting. And so please definitely keep them in your thoughts and see if there is something that you can actually be moved to go do for them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mr. Schnetzer?
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I mean, I'll try and be brief. I guess we did it. Another year in the books. You know, not easy. A lot of hard work, a lot of late nights. Appreciate everybody's efforts. Madam Mayor, obviously staff, who all do the heavy lifting. My colleagues up here, appreciate your patience. Madam City Attorney, don't want to overlook you and your office, always keeping everybody, you know, on the up and up and out of trouble. So appreciate that as well. We have, about 2.5 weeks until we're back. I wish everybody a safe and happy holiday season. For me personally, I am going to enjoy 2.5 more weeks of no sports. If you can believe it, indoor baseball starts in January. And then I will ask for forgiveness to Director Farrell. I'm sure our head coach will probably be texting somebody in your department in March trying to get out on a baseball diamond. I have nothing to do with it. But nonetheless, again, I hope everybody has a joyous holiday season, and we'll see everyone back here on January 2nd, which is a Thursday. It just feels weird. Yes. Anyway, that's all for me.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Councilman Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I would echo the thanks for the young women, the students who are here and advocating for blood donation. Similarly to Mr. Renner, I am behind on my own, but as the so-called universal donor, I know how important it is and need to get back there myself. So I appreciate the reminder from the students. A huge congratulations to Mr. Renner. Thank you for your continued leadership, your mentorship, your guidance over not just my 3 years on council, but the years that I've known you prior. Appreciate your wisdom and your continued leadership. Thank you. And congratulations to you and your family. Similarly to my colleagues, I want to thank everyone for a great year. It's been a very busy year, and certainly the administration, mayor, city attorney, but staff, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you do every day on behalf of our residents. As someone who's born and raised in the city, and now fortunate to call it, be a homeowner here myself, it's just a blessing to be here and know that you are working every day to make this community better for all of us. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Would be remiss if I did not thank Chairman Schnetzer for his leadership throughout the budget process. The new format, I know there's a survey going around and trying to gather thoughts on the new process, but it was different. I think it fostered a very healthy debate throughout, and certainly that would not have been possible without your leadership as well, so thank you, sir. Wish everyone a very happy, healthy, and joyous holiday season, and however you may be celebrating. Very fortunate to have all of my immediate family, my siblings and spouses all live in Franklin. Well, no, I lied. My brother moved just outside the county line into Jersey Township, but right here, so in town. So we'll all be descending on my parents for the holidays, which will make mom and dad very happy. But if you're traveling near, far, be safe out there. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to be very brief. Everybody's put in a lot of time here, so I'll just say again, echo my thanks to my colleagues, City Attorney, Mayor, and of course again to the city staff, but particularly also wanted to thank Council Clerk Van Meter, Deputy Clerk Sophia McGuire, and our newest member, Jessica Hiltz. They have been wonderful to work with all year, true definitions of public servants, thoughtful, curious, very, very service-oriented. And so I just really appreciate all that I've learned from you over the last year and look forward to next year. Thank you again to staff for all that you're doing. And I really wanted to make sure that I specifically recognized residents who are participating, who are trusting us, who are holding us accountable, and recognizing that we are all, I think everyone is working to the best of our abilities and really putting in a truly good faith effort every day. So thank you for the grace, for the encouragement, and for the understanding that we're all striving to improve every day to deliver on our roles to our residents. I wanted to mention that I have a constituent hour coming up on Saturday, January 25th at 10 a.m. at the library. So that is posted, I believe, on the council website, as well as on my council member Facebook page. And then also please save the date for February 2nd, Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. I'm working on coordinating a walk for women to recognize the important contributions that women play here in our city, and also the importance of supporting women's safety while using our parks and our trails. And finally, on a final note, Mr. Renner referenced the residents that are in need and our neighbors that are in need, but I also wanted to take a moment to recognize the incredible generosity that I see in our community this time of year. There is no shortage of incredibly generous events that are going on to support all kinds of families, all kinds of people, from taking gifts to senior centers to making sure that no child is left without gifts under the tree. It's an incredible demonstration. So thank you all for what you're doing. I'm sure everyone here is in the spirit of giving as well. And so I just really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a very safe and happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned for 2024.